Well, I will first point out that the American market has been going up since 2009. That's the longest in American history without a serious problem. So if you ask me, we're getting close to the end. No, these tariffs are not going to save America.
It's obvious that right now the United States stock market valuation is 60% of the global stock market valuation, which is, I think, super overvalued. So it needs to come down at the reasonable levels. I'm super bullish on Japanese stocks for the last 10 years. And the reason I was, there are some external reasons and some internal reasons. The external reason, the biggest reason, is a geopolitical situation.
Well, I sold the Japanese stock market too soon. I hope that there gives another chance for me to buy back into Japan, because the stock market, I suspect, is going to continue to do very well in Japan.
不動産投資を学ぶなら、楽町。
楽町チャンネルをご覧の皆さん、こんにちは。ファンドアナリストの篠田翔子です。本日は私がインタビュアーとして特別ゲストのお二人にお話を伺っていきます。So today we're honored to hear from the two distinguished voices in global economics and finance. First of all, Mr. Jim Rogers from Singapore, a legendary investor and co-founder of the Quantum Fund, whose global outlook has shaped investment thinking for decades. And also Mr. Emin Yurmazu, a respected economist and a commentator, especially known for his expertise in Japan and Asia's evolving role in the world economy. So welcome, Jim, and welcome, Emin.
Thank
today
you.
For joining us. Thank you very much.
Delighted.
Pleasure.
Today, our discussion will be divided into three key parts. First of all, the U.S. economy and the return of the Trump tariff eras. And the second, Japan's economic model and the monetary challenges, as well as the stock economic outlook for Japan. And also, on the third part, it's the rise and the risks of the emerging markets, especially China and India. So let's start where much of the global conversation starts, which is the United States. The talk of tariffs and economic nationalism is once again making headlines under the Trump administration. So how do both of you evaluate President Trump so far, including the tariff policies? Mr. Rogers?
Well, I will first point out that the American market has been going up since 2009. That's the longest in American history without a serious problem. So if you ask me, we're getting close to the end. I'm starting to see some signs of speculation and overconfidence. So I would suggest that the American market doesn't have much longer to go.
I see. How about you, Emin?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, well, I'm pointing the American stock market is overvalued for a long time, actually. It's been like maybe more than 5 years right now. It's after the pandemic bubble. And then you see all those, AI-related companies, which, has no relation, has no link to the fundamentals. And they're all like $1 trillion, $2 trillion companies. So it's obvious that right now the United States stock market valuation is 60% of the global stock market valuation, which is, I think, super overvalued. So it needs to come down at the reasonable levels. But we don't know, what will cause it. So I think we're in between right now. It's the next big event, next probably big black swan event, and an overvaluation stage. Yeah.
How about the Trump tariffs problems?
Well, it's a problem, but we don't know, what Trump thinks right now and which level he, wants to settle the tariffs, 10%, 20%. So we don't know. So it's hard to make a, decision or make an assumption right now. I think we need to wait and see. I don't know what's going to happen.
It seems to me that the stock market of the United States has reacted pretty sensitively first on the Trump tariffs, but now it's getting back now.
Yes, of course, yeah, because it's like I don't know if you're familiar with those kind of people, because I'm from Istanbul. In Turkey, my home is very close to Grand Bazaar. So in Turkey, we have bazaar traders. They always started the negotiations unreasonable level.
Right.
Yeah, unreasonable level, and then you have to negotiate with them, and you also say some unreasonable lowball offer. Then you come up with some reasonable level, the real price. So it's like negotiating like a bazaar trader now.
I see.
Yeah.
How about
Yes,
please.
back to Mr. Trump. With some politician, like Margaret Thatcher, if something happened, we more or less knew what she would do.
Right.
The problem is Mr. Trump doesn't have an underlying philosophy. So we can't read him the way you can many politicians. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He'll watch TV and then decide what to do.
I see. And Mr. Rogers, you've been critical of the government interventions in the market. How do you view the re-emergence of the tariffs as a political and economic tool in the U.S.?
Well, I've been around long enough and read enough history to know that tariffs have never been good for anybody except a few people for a few weeks. So, no, these tariffs are not going to save America. They might get Mr. Trump a few votes, but it's not going to save America or the world economy.
How about the position of the U.S. dollar? The U.S. dollar, I think, has faced growing skepticism internationally. So do you think a protectionist U.S. accelerates the move toward the dollarization, or?
Well, it might help the dollar for a while, but, protectionism has never lasted very long because it's never been good for anybody. Mr. Trump thinks he will get some votes, but protectionism is not a good economic policy. I mean, protectionism has been around for a few hundred years. It's never been very good for anybody.
I see. How about you, Emin?
Yeah, but the thing, what I believe is not just maybe the Trump's thinking, because if you think about that, the first Trump administration put some tariffs on the China, right?
Right.
And the Biden kept most of them, and put some additional tariffs on it too. So maybe there is some geopolitical situation, and I believe there is, and I think there's a new Cold War emerging between United States and China.
China, right.
So it's not just about probably trades or protectionism or something like that, but a bigger struggle between the United States and China about the world hegemony.
Right.
I think that's also related to what's happening right now. So maybe it's not just Trump's eccentricism or it's Trump's idea, or some big, consensus about that we must stop China at its track, right? So stop them becoming taking a United States place as a, the world hegemony. So I think that's happening right now.
I see. How about your view in the more longer term, like 5 or 10 years after Trump administration?
Well, I think that's why I think, in some point, even after Trump, the United States, tried to stop China.
Right.
In terms of both, economic cooperation and trade-wise, and also probably, the more we see more decoupling from United States and Chinese economies. So it's not just about the Trump, but so we see more like. I'm hoping to avoid that, but maybe some hot conflict about the Taiwan Strait or some other places. So this is a new Cold War. I think we must be prepared for that.
Right.
Yeah.
その物件、本当に買って大丈夫？不動産投資の失敗を防ぐなら、キャッシュフローシミュレーション。買ってはいけない物件が一目でわかる。スマホ一つで楽々投資判断。楽町で検索。
How about you, Mr. Rogers, about the geopolitical tensions? How are you watching from, you're based in Singapore now. How are you watching from outside of the United States?
Well, I am in Asia, and I can pretty clearly see that China is on the rise. In my view, China is going to be the next great country in the world, whether we like it or not. And a lot of people don't like it, but it's going to happen. China is the only country in world history that's been on top 3 or 4 times. They've also collapsed 3 or 4 times. But for some reason, China, after being at the bottom for a few decades or centuries, turns around and goes to the top again. In my view, it's happening again, whether we like it or not. And what I'm trying to do is live with it and adjust with it, adjust to the new facts, and hopefully I will survive.
I see. Do you have any views on that?
No, I agree. I mean,
China,
about
position?
position-wise, yes, they're, well, maybe, I don't know if they replace the United States while we're alive, but definitely it's going to be at least a bipolar world.
Right.
So there's you have China and you have United States. It's maybe different alliances, different economic blocs. So this, I believe that's going to happen. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So
Part of the problem, I'm an American, part of the problem is America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. And the debt goes higher every day. It skyrockets. I don't think the people in Washington can count. They cannot add, they cannot subtract, and I don't see how they possibly can continue like this. But every day it gets worse.
I see.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think the Chinese debt problem also serious?
Well, of course, the Chinese debt problem is that they had a big property bubble, and it's added a lot of debt to the Chinese system. The Chinese government, I don't think, is nearly as deeply as in debt as the American government, but certainly there is debt building up in China, especially at the property level.
Yeah, I think that's probably the next big, topic is, have the Chinese property bubble burst.
Right.
It's going to impact the country's long-term economic, performance. And also, we have a debt problem in the United States and Japan.
And of course, yes, Japan.
Yeah.
You've also mentioned about the real estate bubble as well, right? And,
Yes.
And the real estate bubble doesn't, leaves nothing. Afterwards.
Leaves nothing. Yeah, exactly. So when you have like IT bubble or technology bubble, leaves something as a legacy. It's some good technologies behind it, but real estate bubble is just total devastation when they burst.
Right.
So,
but it's happening all over the world.
Yes, I agree.
Japan,
I agree. Even Japan. I mean, you see the Tokyo, the flat prices are skyrocketing right now.
I see. So I want to move on to maybe the Japanese economy part. So, despite those structural changes and of course, the real estate bubble, you've remained optimistic about the Japanese economy as well as the stock market. So could you share your perspective on what's driving that optimism?
Yeah. I'm super bullish on Japanese stocks for the last 10 years. And the reason I was, there are some external reasons and some internal reasons. The external reason, the biggest reason is a geopolitical situation.
Right.
Because, I believe the Japanese economic growth and the Japanese stock market bull phase, super bull market after the World War II, it's actually, when you see that it started at 1950, started with the Korean War, right? So it's not coincidence. It started with the Cold War between the United States and Soviet Union, and it ended exactly the same time when the Berlin Wall fell. Okay, so it's like continued 40 years, and after that you see like 25 years of stagnation and the bear market. And then I think we entered a new phase of the bull market in 2013 with the new emerging geopolitical situation, new Cold War between the United States and China, which gives Japan a great leverage on both terms of, China and the United States economic relationship, and also trade-wise, and also you see the supply chain is coming back to Japan.
Right.
See a lot of semiconductor factories opening in Japan. See a lot more tourists coming, a lot more foreign direct investments coming to Japan. So, and these are the external reasons. And I also believe there are, internal reasons that you see from 2013 the Japanese government implemented the Corporate Governance Reform Act, and see more and more Japanese companies are getting more, transparent about the corporate governance, and they give more dividends.
Right.
Yeah, and then from the TSE implemented also structural reforms, and you see they put a pressure on the companies to, the work on more like investment relationship, give more dividends, and also they're gonna implement a threshold for market cap soon, very soon. So these are all internal reasons. And also you see the inflation, and we have like a huge Japanese financial assets right now sitting on the cash.
On the deposits.
Yeah, on the cash or deposits, right? So like you see like 2.2 quadrillion Japanese yen, which is about 16 trillion dollars.
Exactly.
So it's only 10 to 15% of that money is invested in the stock market right now.
Exactly.
I believe it's going to go up like 30%, 40% because the inflation, because people are afraid of losing the money.
Right.
So it's a new phenomenon. Inflation just came to Japan. So there are some external reasons and some internal reasons, I believe. That's why I'm super bullish on Japanese stocks in the long term.
In the long term.
Yeah.
How about your view on the Japanese stock market, Mr. Rogers?
Well, I sold the Japanese stock market too soon. I mean, the Japanese stock market was down for 35 years.
Exactly.
That's not a typo, 35 years. Now it's going through the roof. I sold too soon. I hope that there gives another chance for me to buy back into Japan, because the stock market, I suspect, is going to continue to do very well in Japan. The economy is in trouble. The population's been declining for 15 years. That doesn't mean you can't have a bull market in stocks. And I would like to buy back into Japan if I get a chance, I will buy back into Japan. But so far, I sold too soon. I bought very well. I sold too soon.
I see. Do you have any specific image of a sector or like an industry that you're interested in?
Well, it will certainly depend on what goes down the most. That would be my place where I would start. But I mean, the problems in Japan. The population's declining. There are old people. There are a lot too many old people. You don't like foreigners. You don't like immigrants. So Japan has some demographic problems, which could lead to opportunities. But I have to watch to see what goes down the most.
I see. Yes, you've expressed all the concerns about the Japan's long-term viability. So, but has anything changed in recent years, or any view, either positively or negatively?
In Japan, well, you still aren't having babies. I mean, whether we like it or not, you got to have some babies or have some immigrants. You don't like foreigners very much, so I don't see that there's been any basic change. The population is still declining. And where are we going to get our unagi in 20 years?
Yes, that's your favorite dish, right?
I love unagi. I love Japan. I love unagi. But unless something happens, there's not going to be a Japan in 40 or 50 years.
Yeah, I love unagi too.
Oh, yes. Everyone loves unagi. And yes, there's always a problem with the natural resources, I guess, in Japan as well.
Now, the thing is that, yes, the demographic problem is not going to be solved in a short term. I don't think so. But we see some changes, actually, that, for example, recently, local governments are kind of like eased. Foreigners become bus drivers and taxi drivers. And we see a lot more people, immigrants coming from like countries like Nepal, India, and also from the Central Asian, countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. It's changing a little bit, but of course, yes, I don't think there's going to be a huge immigrant population in Japan. But somehow, maybe with the help of the AI, artificial intelligence, and and maybe somewhat easing of the immigration. Maybe Japan, can overcome some of the problems. At least not all of them. And some of the demographic.
Good news if it's correct and if there are enough, but you're going to have a big change. I'm happy to see the change, but so far it's not nearly enough because, I can add, I can subtract. I hope the people in Tokyo can add and subtract.
Yeah, it seems to me, now recent years that the Japanese people are starting to realize the importance of the national pension system, the maintenance of the national pension system as well as the Social Security. Yeah. So everyone's starting to realize that it's been a quite serious problem here in Japan.
Yes, of course.
And that's why people are starting to invest, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Everybody's afraid, they won't get the pension.
Right.
Yeah, no, everybody can get their pension. The problem is, can you buy anything with that pension?
Exactly. And when can you get that pension?
When you get the pension, when they pay you, can you buy anything with that pension? That's the problem. I don't think the pension system is going to collapse. But the problem is that if they print money,
right?
In this pace, the yen won't be worth much when you get the pension. So you have to, that's why you have to invest. Right?
I see. Yeah. So that's your main message.
Yeah.
To all your fans.
Let me ask him a question.
Sure. Go ahead.
What do you think about the commodities market? Because when I worked in Nomura for a long time, for about 10 years. 20 years ago, when I first started working in Nomura, your book, Hot Commodities, was one of the first book that I actually read. And it got me interested in,
me too.
To commodity market.
Well, the commodities market is a huge market, and it always has been. It hasn't always been very popular, or even people didn't know much about it. But we all know what commodities are. We all know what sugar is. We all know what copper is. And so we know commodities. And whether we like it or not, the world is facing another shortage of many commodities going forward, especially in agriculture. So I am optimistic about commodities just because I can look out the window and see what's happening. How many people that you went to university with became farmers? None. Nobody wants to be a farmer. And so therein lies the problem. The world is running out of farmers. I can give you more statistics, but we have to have more farmers and we have to have more miners. Look at Japan. The commodities in Japan are disappearing, but they're disappearing all over the world. And that's going to give opportunities for some people.
We have a rice inflation of 100% this year. The rice prices.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually 100% inflation.
Right. It's becoming a very serious problem, especially in the metropolitan area.
See, you don't have to ask me. You know more than I do. Yes, the world is running out of rice. And many people love rice, including me. But unless somebody's going to produce a lot more rice, in a few years, we're going to have very serious problems. Not just rice, sugar, wheat, many things.
I see. How about gold and precious metals? It seems to me that the price hike is quite, the price is, rising quite rapidly, and everyone wants to buy gold, right?
I own both gold and silver. I bought more silver recently. I'm not buying gold right now. I'm not selling, but gold is at an all-time high or near its all-time high. So if I were buying one, I would buy silver today, and I would probably buy more silver. And if gold goes down, I hope I'm smart enough to buy more gold.
Do you have any views on alternative assets?
I think the silver is kind of undervalued compared to gold right now. I also agree with that. The gold is a little bit overpriced right now, because the price increase was too steep. But it's a general that people are kind of right now dumping dollar assets.
Right.
Yeah, moving their money to precious metals. Yeah, and also about the commodity market, probably the agricultural products. Like we saw like cocoa and orange juice bull market last year, right? So I think we're going to see more of that. But I'm not sure about the copper or other commodities in the short term because I think there's going to be a recession coming.
I see.
Yeah.
You're probably right about the recession, and that means that metals, things like copper, will not be going up a lot, but agriculture, you know, we're all going to continue to want to eat. We're all going to wear clothes. So I am more optimistic about agriculture going forward.
I see. How about real estates? As I mentioned, Emin, it's been...
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert on real estate, so I don't know. But in Japan, we see some bubble in the Tokyo, central Tokyo area. But it's probably it's not going to collapse so easily because there's a continuous money flow from China actually.
Right, so foreign money.
Foreign money coming in. It's a speculation, but they buy the real estate. But as a general market in Japan, I don't think it's going to go up that much because, as Jim says, we have demographic problems and the population is decreasing. So I don't think that's a very strong market as a whole country. Yeah.
不動産投資調べること多い。
それなら楽町の賃貸経営マップ。不動産投資の重要データが一目で分かって操作も簡単。楽町の賃貸経営マップ。
How's the situation in Singapore?
Well, Singapore is a small country, and real estate is usually popular just because it doesn't have a population bubble. Property in Singapore, that might be a bubble. It's certainly expensive, and everybody who can tries to buy more property in Singapore, including Chinese immigrants or Japanese immigrants. Everybody knows that Singapore is a safe and prosperous place, and so they like to buy property here. If I were buying property in Japan, I would buy farmland, because that's where the problems are going to be in Japan. Tokyo, they got plenty of buildings in Tokyo. You don't have plenty of farmland.
That's right.
You probably don't know how to drive a tractor. I urge you to learn how to drive a tractor in Japan.
I see.
Jim, what do you think about the cryptocurrencies?
Well, I have never bought nor sold a crypto. I've never sold short a cryptocurrency, so I don't know if I'm the person to ask. I don't see any underlying purpose or use for a cryptocurrency except as trading vehicles. And I don't know how much of future trading vehicles will have for cryptocurrencies, but I am not buying. I am not selling short, but I don't see much of a future.
I see. Thank you. Because I also, on the same side,
Right.
I don't buy any cryptocurrency. And I also, think they're pretty speculative, assets with just no fundamental value on it. So
I see.
I wanted to ask.
So you don't recommend?
Well, I don't recommend anything to people, but,
But-
I mean, I
Not,
don't like
not
them as an asset.
I see.
Yeah.
So not as a part of a portfolio.
Yeah,
I see.
it's like
Right.
casino chips. It's like a casino chips.
Both agreement.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
both agree.
All right, thank you. So why don't we move on to the emerging markets?
Okay.
So Jim, you mentioned about the China, but unfortunately, China has a little bit of a slow movement, I guess, recently in the global area. But at the same time, India is gaining ground as a growth engine. But of course, the landscape is still very complex. And it seems to me that many investors are trying to understand where the real long-term opportunities lie. So, Jim, you've invested in China over a long term. Are you still optimistic about its future, or are there any fundamental issues that make you cautious today?
Well, whenever markets get overpriced, you should sell, but China's certainly not overpriced right now.
Right.
I have investments in China, and I will probably have more in the future. Likewise, India. I mean, for the first time in my life, in my investing life, Delhi understands economics now. They never really understood economics. They didn't like rich people. You know, all those people, Nehru and Gandhi and all those people didn't like rich people. But now, and they realize something has happened in India, and they understand that being successful is good. There is, I read, a basic fundamental change in mentality in Delhi. Now, that means, let me quickly tell you,
Sure.
I haven't bought anything or sold too soon, but I hope I can buy back into India because I believe in the Indian mentality now.
How about you, Emin? Your views on the emerging markets, especially China and India?
Well, we have quite high interest in the Indian stocks in Japan, right? So, yeah, I think, and also I think Jim is right because, you know, they were like, you know, before that, in order to set up a company in India, you have to like get 200, you know, licenses for different places. Like it's getting easier right now, and then we see a lot more Japanese companies going over there.
Right, so there's a structural reform going on.
Reform. It's not easy. I don't think so because the problem, and also maybe the the advantage of India, but it's also a problem. It's a democratic country.
Right.
It's a quite a federalist place. You have a lot of states over there,
right?
And it's and also multi-ethnic place.
Exactly.
And it's not so easy like China that some guy decides something from top down and things are going so smoothly, so easily. So I don't think India will become the next China or they they show same kind of economic performance. But of course, it's a big place, and
it is,
and also speaking English.
That's
it's a huge advantage of them, and also democratic country. So yeah, and there's a potential in India, but also quite risky, I believe.
Still risky, or
yeah, still risky. Still risky, especially if you invest in individual stocks.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when I was speaking with one of my Japanese public company, and they were trying to invest in India, and they had a partner in India, but the head of the after they created the joint venture, the head of the company just disappeared. Disappeared. I mean, we don't know if he's died or maybe he faked his death. But these kind of things still can happen in India. So,
but
yeah.
Not in China, or
well, I don't think so. The Chinese. I mean, if you ever do business with China, yeah, it was bad before, but nowadays they actually care about their reputations.
Right. I see.
It's not like before.
I see.
I guess I'm a little more experienced. I have seen fraud all over the world, including in the United States. So India is not the only place that has fraud, or China, America, even Turkey. Turkey has had fraud in its history.
Yes, of course, yeah.
I see. So how about some other countries like beyond China and India? Do you see any other opportunities, Mr. Rogers?
Well, the only places that I'm investing now are China, because it's still down, and Uzbekistan. I mean, there are big changes taking place in Uzbekistan. And yes, but there are not many countries, because most markets around the world have done very well in the last few years. If you can find me a country that's depressed, please don't announce it on your show. Please send me an email, because I'm looking for depressed markets, and there are not many that I can find.
Uzbekistan. My sister lives in Uzbekistan, and I went there 2 years ago. Yeah, and I also positively
I see.
impressed by the country. Yeah.
Where does she live?
She lives in Tashkent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Be nice to her.
Yeah, I am nice to her. Yeah.
She's going to be rich. Going to be very nice to her.
Yeah, but they're actually doing very well over there. They do some construction business. Her husband, and then It's 2 years ago I went there, and it's like safe like Japan.
Okay,
you don't lock
great.
your cars. Really, I mean you can tell the waitresses your credit card password. They don't do anything.
Oh, wow.
And it's also it's a beautiful place.
Is that because the safe? What do you think?
I don't know. It's just shocked to me. I mean, it's like even it's safer than Japan.
Really?
I mean, yeah. It's shocked to me, and also they have all those resources, and it's a beautiful place. They have
Right.
infrastructure. Yeah. I agree, because your last interview with him, he said Uzbekistan.
Right, Uzbekistan.
I said because I was surprised, and
I
also
see.
pleasure. It's an
great.
interesting place.
I will tell you a story, but when Samarkand became a great conqueror of the world, he died, he was buried in Uzbekistan, and on his tomb it said, if anybody disturbs this tomb, it will bring chaos to the world. He was buried there for a long time. Then the Germans took over Soviet Union, as you know, and the day that the Russians went into Samarkand's tomb to see what was there. Remember, it said, if anybody disturbs his tomb, it will bring chaos to the world. That was the day that Hitler invaded Germany. So Samarkand was right. I mean, they knew what they were talking about. And so it's a wonderful place to go. As far as I know, it's very safe as well. Will it be safe in 10 years? I don't know. But it's always been safe for me.
Do you have any information about the stock market or how the market's working?
I don't know. I mean, I want to invest, but I don't know any because we don't have any investment vehicle in Japan.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, I will just tell you the reason I invested, because the government is now making changes. They want to develop a proper economy in Uzbekistan. And usually when governments do things like that, it is good for the stock market. So I have invested.
Oh, I see. Do you think that would bring a good impact to the neighborhood countries, or?
Well, it certainly will, but it's a very big country if you look at a map.
Right.
And so if they alone are big enough for me. But there are other countries in that area too, yes. I've been to many of them, and they're all interesting. But Uzbekistan is where the government is taking an active role to make things exciting. I hope they do it.
Oh, great. Oh, that's so interesting. I see. So I want to ask you, Emin, about the emerging markets as an investment option, because how Japanese individual investors invest heavily into the U.S. stock. Recent year.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's overvalued. I mean, you have to. It's better to invest in Japanese stocks.
Right, Japanese stocks.
But if you want to have the really truly diversified portfolio, you need to have some emerging market stocks as well.
And of course, Japanese stocks.
And also some maybe precious metals.
Precious metals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I don't think it's a good idea to put all your money into emerging markets.
Right, right.
Well, Japan is one of the few markets that's still somewhat depressed. I mean, yes, it's making all-time highs, but it was down for 35 years.
Exactly.
So I would prefer Japan to America, for instance, but be careful because it has been going straight up recently.
Do you think, Emin, we should care about the timing, or?
No, I don't think so.
I see.
I don't think so. I mean, you buy something and keep it for a long time. It's his style. I mean,
Right.
I'll learn them from him.
Right.
Yeah.
If you buy something at the top, it's not going to be good. So try to find things that are depressed and keep them for a long, long time.
When you say long, long time, how can we think about those? I mean, like 10 or 20 years? Do you have an image?
Me, the best is something forever that I never have to sell. I'm lazy. Selling takes work. And so, no, if you can find something that's going to be good for many years, I urge you to invest, and please send me an email so I can look at it too. But if you, I mean, it's not often that you find something like that.
Mhm.
But if you'd invested in Coca-Cola many years ago, you could still own it. There are
Right.
some things like that.
Mhm.
Just they're not very often. It's hard to find them.
Do you have any advice to the individual investors in terms of long-term investing? Because everyone's kind of mixed up with
No,
how many years you should invest.
Have at least, they start to, have some NISA accounts.
NISA
at least.
account,
You start with the NISA and you start dollar cost averaging.
Right.
So to buy the same amount.
Exactly.
At least is the start, right? You have to start
It is.
something because this inflation will eat away all your,
Right.
cash, all your deposits.
Uh-huh.
You have to have some assets, and you could, it's easy right now. And like before
Right,
that,
it is.
all those ETFs had, the fat, the premiums they have, but
Right.
right now it's quite nice. I mean,
It is.
it's very cheap right now, so you can buy a lot of stuff, a lot of indexes. At least you can start with that, and then you can look into,
You're exactly right. Index investing has changed a lot of things and made investing simpler for many people, including me, including everybody. So index investing is a good change for the world, but be sure you know what you're doing. If you do not know where Uzbekistan is, do not invest in an Uzbekistan index fund. Only invest in what you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much should I know about that certain country or something you invest?
Well,
Do you
if
have any
you ask me,
advice?
you should not be in, if you cannot find a country on the map, don't invest in that country, or Japan. You live in Japan, so you know where it is, but be careful because there's some great companies in Japan. There always have been, but many of those companies have gone up in the stock market and they're not cheap. Just because you know about a company doesn't mean it's cheap, and it doesn't mean you should invest. I hope your parents taught you to buy low and sell high.
Exactly.
And if you find things that are low, then do some research and maybe you should invest.
So maybe for Uzbekistan, we should go there first.
Yeah, it's much better to go first.
Right,
It's
I
not
see.
that far.
I want to emphasize, do not, if you go to a party and everybody's talking about some company, please do not invest. Please do not invest.
Right, that's a very important advice, I guess, because everyone's looking at social networks and YouTubes and everything. So
Everybody likes the hot tips.
exactly, right.
Maybe you can make money, but my experience is do not invest in something that everybody's talking about and that's hot.
I see. Thank you, Jim. So I think this had been a very incredibly rich discussion, I guess. So before we close, I'd like to ask each of you about some message to your fans and all the individual investors in Japan. So let's start with them in first.
It's thanks for inviting me here. It's an honor to be in the same program
Yes.
with Jim Rogers, and he's a legend. I mean, as I said, his book, one of the first books when I started working for Nomura. So,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the fundamental investment it hasn't changed.
Exactly.
And all those speculative things, speculative assets, and the hot tips, hot stocks, and that kind of stuff. It always exists every
Right.
time. I mean, so but you gotta stick something not so interesting, maybe some boring stuff, and keep it for a long time. I think
Right.
that's the essence of investment.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's you can be maybe you can make money, but you can lose it easily. That's fine enough. Maybe not trading, but investing in Japan. The thing is that we don't have the distinct, separation of or understanding between investment and trading in Japan,
Right.
or speculating in Japan. So the Japanese people or public needs more financial education. Yeah. I believe.
Maybe from the younger age or?
Yes, of course, from younger age, from high school. Yeah, from high school at least. So, yeah, we need a lot more people with the financial literature, know what to do. And we see all those, huge assets sitting in the deposits, cashes, and needs to be more like efficiently invested.
I see. Thank you. So from you, Mr. Rogers, please.
But that is very good advice, but I would also say, please, only invest in what you know a lot about. Now, some people will say that's boring. Okay, be boring. If you want to be rich, if you want to be successful, be boring. Do not worry about being boring. If you're really boring, send me an email.
Yeah.
I love boring investments.
That's a very good advice.
Agree. Yeah. Boring stuff is always good,
right?
Because it's undervalued.
I see. That's another point too, right? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Jim and Enemin, for sharing your time and expertise. And thank you all for joining us today. So thank you once again, Jim.
Thank you,
Well,
Jim.
I'm very flattered. I wish we were in Turkey. I love Turkey. I love Japan, but I love Turkey also.
I love both countries.
Great to hear that. So next time, maybe in Tokyo, I'll be waiting with a good unagi, okay?
We'll go have unagi and then we'll fly to Turkey.
All right.
Nice.
That works perfect. Well, thank you once again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. It's been good fun. I hope we can do it again.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye. Be boring.
Bye-bye.
Be boring.
Be
Bye-bye.
Be boring. Today's message.
Yes.
楽町が運営する楽町新聞では記者・編集者を募集しています。私たちと一緒に中立的で公益性のある記事を作りませんか？詳しくは楽町採用で検索。
はい。というわけで、ここまでロジャーさんおつなぎしてお話聞いてきましたけれども、
そうですね。
エミンさんいかがでしたか？
まあさすがあれですね、伝説の、投資家さんだけあって、でも今日のメッセージはね、はっきり伝わった。
とってもシャープでしたよね。わかりやすいシャープなメッセージいただきましたね。
そうですね。もうつまらない投資をやれと。
はい。
私も
Be boring
そうそう、私も同じことを思ってますけど、キラキラな銘柄よりも私もちょっと地味な銘柄が大好きなんで、地味な投資が大好きなんで。
今日本当ところどころ出てきましたけど、やっぱりその割安に放置されているというか、あんまり誰も見向きもしてないようなものとか、もしかしたらそういう退屈な投資に入るかもしれないですよね。
まあね、面白くないですよ。それってだって毎日だってさ、動いているさ、価格が上げ下げしているものがある中でさ、そんななんか自分で買った銘柄が一向に動かなくてみたいな。でもね、そういうのってね、すごい本当に割安なものっていずれ吹くんだよ、すごい。いずれ注目されるって、これって実際今年に入ってからの日本のマーケットって日経平均よりも、スタンダードとかグロースが動いているって、
そうですね。
そうなんですよ。
個別で見ると結構ね。
そう個別で見ると結構、そう今まで地味に放置されていたものが動いていたりとか、あとは本当になんかすごいキャッシュリッチで。ものすごく割安に放置されていたものがやはりここに来て、でもこれってね、よく考えたらすごい要はさっき言ってたように構造的な、ね、変化が起きていて、それはいわゆる東証として、もう企業にものすごく今圧力かけてますよね。
そうですね。いわゆる市場改革ですよね。
そうですね。市場改革。だからそれが持ち合い株の解消だったり、PBR 一番割れの改善だったり、社外取締役の設置だったりっていう、すごいコーポレートガバナンスにおいての日本での動きっていうのは、これが結局すごくポジティブに株価に反映されてきている。でさらに言っているのは100億円以下のね、時価総額100億を切っている企業っていうのはこれからもう上場できなくなるかもしれない。でそれってでもね、ヒントじゃない？そう思わない？だって100億円を切っていて、財務が良くて、 黒字出ている、赤字じゃない企業であればチャンスじゃない。
ここスクリーニングかけるだけでも結構
チャンスあるんですよ。
チャンスありますよね。
チャンスだって、もう間違いなくそういった企業っていうのは企業努力をして IR 活動をして株価を上げようと、心がけるはずなんで、これだけで結構動くんですよ、相場って。そうなんです。だから本当は東証が教えてるんですよ。ここ10年間ね、どこに投資すべきかっていうの、一番最初のコーポレートガバナンス改革で始まって、要はさ、全体的にトピックスとか日経ですよね。で、その PBR1 倍割れをなんとかっていうことで、結局一番大きい企業から時価総額大きい企業から、1倍割れ改善を始めたんですよね。ことに13業とか、商社さんとかね、まだまだあるんですよ、まだまだ全部終わってないんでまだまだあるよね。で今度はやっぱりその中古型にメス入れているんで、だから教えてるんですよ、どこに投資すべきかっていうの、もしくは何がテーマなのかっていうのを教えてくれるから。
そうですね。結構そういう投資信託でも個別株でもそうだと思うんですけど、上がりそうなものを探すっていうのはすごく難しいけれども、こうスクリーニングをかけていく、こう排除し、いろんな条件を入れて、そぎ落としていくっていうか、そういう考え方をした方が
難しくないですよ。いろんなツールでできるから、指揮法オンラインでもできるし、他にもあるから、いろいろと自分で少しやってみて、本当に多分だから日本は今まだだから投資家さん気づいてない外国人投資家さんいっぱいいるからこんなに割安であって、多分これからもっと注目されるんじゃないかなっていう気はします。
そうですね、中小企業の方が日本人としてのアドバンテージを投資家としても発揮できますよね。
そうですね。
あんまりねこう情報がまだ英語で出てなかったりとか、外国人投資家注目してないとか。
そうですね、まさにそうだと思いますね。
ありがとうございます。そして、ウズベキスタントークがまさかこんな形で展開されると思わなかったんですけれども、でもこれやっぱり特に新興国に限らないかもしれないですけど、やっぱり知らないところに投資するなっていう言葉は非常に重要ですよね。
でもこれは本当に、ジム・ロジャーズさんだけじゃなくて、バフェットさんも同じこと言ってるじゃない。
そうですね。
ピーター・リンチも同じこと言ってる、やっぱり自分が知っているものに、自分がよく知っているものに投資すべきだと。だから私もすごくシンプルな、ことをやっている会社が好きなんですよ。例えばアパレルとかコイルとか、だから月次が出てるじゃない。要は売上ね、分かりやすいんですよ。で店行けば何売ってるか、何やって、飲食とかも大好きですけど、
消費者としても感じることができる。
分かりやすいです。だからやってることは、だからむしろ難しいのは AI 関連だとか、難しいよね、半導体とかね。だからもう分かるんであればね、それも面白いと思うんですけど、もしくは医療もやっぱり
難しいですね。
バイオベンチャーとか難しいですよね。だから例えば私はもともと大学でバイオやってたんですよ。でそれでもバイオベンチャーっていうのはあんま変わらないんです。でなぜかっていうと、自分でこの人たちの論文を学術論文を読むぐらいの努力しないと多分買っちゃいけないと思ってるからだからもっとそれ簡単な、でもね、応援として買います。
そうですね。消費者として応援したいっていう面と、投資家としても応援したいっていう。
投資家は儲けたいっていうよりも、いいことやってるから少しこの株を持っておこうっていうのはある。それはありますね。
その意味ではもしかしたらここ数年、特に新NISAの前後は米国株が本当に注目されましたけど、当然その為替が円安に触れたことでそこの下駄を履かせてもらってた効果はあったにせよ、改めてもしかしたら米国株投資まだ続けるのであれば、これをいいタイミングと考えてちょっともう少し見に行ってみるとか、もうどうなんですかね。この今持ってるものもやっぱりもうちょっと知っておいた方がいいとか、そのあたりはいかがですか。
いいと思う。だって米株も米国行ったらいい
ですよね。確かに今だいぶいろいろとなんでしょうね、混沌としてると言っちゃいけないのかな。でも
私ね、米株ありますよ。米株でじゃあ何に投資してるかって言って、自分が知ってる企業に投資してるんです。
やっぱりそこもそうなんですね。
だから例えば
スケッチャーズとかね、
はい、
僕の靴全部スケッチャーズなんで、
じゃあそれもやっぱり消費者として愛用者として
はい、もう知ってるから、もう店もアメリカで何度も行ったことあるし、ルルレモンとかね実際店行ったことあるし、だから実際行けばいいんですよ。だからもちろん全員は全員ちょっとアメリカの個別株買ってるわけじゃないんで、でも
いい機会と捉えて、
いい機会と捉えて
見てみるとか、
ちょっと見てみる、面白いと思いますよ。いろんな意味で自分のなんかちょっとこう何に投資して、企業だってね、結構ねいけるんですよ。
それは
工場見学があったりとか、
なるほど、そういう意味ですね。
資料館があったりとか、
確かにありますよね。
いける結構、実際例えばメーカーさんとかでも結構工場見学やっているんで、
そうですね。今どこも個人投資家も長期の個人投資家増やしたいから、結構そういう施策として、施策の一環としてやってる企業も多いですよね。
一番いいのはあれですよ。だから例えば飲料メーカーのさ、工場見学行くと結構
ありますね。
ビールとかね、
大人気なんですよね。
大人気ですよ。それサントリー行けばウイスキー飲めるし、
大人気らしくて、あれ今大変らしいですけどね。でもなるほど、そうですね。やっぱ飲んでみる、食べてみる、使ってみる。
実際その会社の人に触れるっていうのが重要です。そういう
確かにそういう工場とか出向けば、なんとなくその企業のカルチャーとかも分かるかもしれないですよね。
カルチャーとか、あとは株主総会に行くかですよね。100株だけ買って、そうしたら株主総会に招集通知が届くから。
あれもいい経験かもしれませんね。
経験ですね。
一回ちょっと経験してみると
面白いと思います。
なるほど、ありがとうございます。いや本当に今日はいろんななんでしょうね、ウズベキスタンの話もそうですし、でもやっぱりその共通のメッセージとしては、お二人とも長期で。やっぱり一喜一憂しないで投資を続けるということもそうですし、つまらない投資ほど最終的に
面白くないぐらい
面白くないものの方が最終的に自分に返ってくるものが期待できるというか、
あんまりねエキサイティングを求めちゃダメよ。
それは別のところでやってくださいっていう話ですかね。
なんかラスベガスとか行ってやった方がいい。
じゃあアメリカ行ったついでにちょっとラスベガス行って、
だからそういうちょっラギャンブルは投資なんか相場でギャンブルやっちゃうと、
そうですね。エミさんほらポーカ
ー、僕はラスベガスの好きで行くんで、ギャンブルも別にギャンブラーなんで好きなんですけど、でも相場でギャンブルやっちゃダメです。
そうですね。
ギャンブルはちょっと別のところで競馬でもやって、私競馬でもたまにやります。
私も競馬好きです。競馬もポーカーも勉強中ですし、だからオフィシャルなちゃんとギャンブルでやりましょうということで、
今いろんなものじゃなくてね、
今いろいろご時世的にいろいろありますんで、じゃあオフィシャルなギャンブルと、そこはだからマインドセットもやっぱり変えて、
なんかエキサイトメントは別のところでちょっとね求めてね、相場はつまんないぐらいがちょうどいい。
地道に行きましょう。
面白くないなーってぐらいがちょうどいいですよ。
エミンさん、新刊が発売になったということで、エブリシングバブルならぬエブリシングクラッシュということで、またガラリと、
そうですね。これは特定のね、例えばトランプショックとかの話じゃなくて、本当に上に書いてあるように高金利高インフレ時代っていうふうに書いているんで、もう今までの感覚、今までのやり方時代はもうクラッシュする、もうそういう時期に入ってますね。っていうのは見ての通り、アメリカの金利も日本の長期金利もものすごい勢いで高騰しているので、もう日本もだから永遠にお金が印刷できなくなってきました。でそれをやってしまうと今度ものすごくインフレになってくると、インフレとともに今までの認識、今までの多分政治体制もありとあらゆるものがクラッシュして新しく秩序がそこから生まれる、多分そういう時期に我々が今入ってますね。
結構この中では、ディープシークショックとかもカバーされているということなんですけど、だいぶ最新の動きも、
結構ギリギリままで4月中旬まで書いてたんで、だからちょっと本来よりもね、分厚いんですよ。
いやでもなんかちょっと思いました。かなりボリュームがありますよね。
だからもう新しいものも全部入れようと思ってね、だからギリギリまで書き続けたんで、トランプさんの話も入ってます。
なんか特にちょっとこことか何かありますか、もし読んでほしい。
そうですね、やっぱり一つは今後のアメリカ株のシナリオと日本株のシナリオ、という、あとは金利とその他資産の動きっていうのを結構詳しく解説してますので、AI 関連もおっしゃる通りディープシークの分析もやってますけど、 そのあたりはぜひ皆さんご参考になるんではないかと思います。
ありがとうございます。金利の動きというのは本当になかなか皆さん株のところしかね、ご覧
見てないからね、
見てない方も多いと思うんですけど、これを機にというか今いいタイミングですよね。ちょっと見ていただくいいタイミングだと思います。
改めてちょっと、
はい、ぜひ改めてエミさんありがとうございました。